One man is holding 130 million people hostage. Ethiopia has the vision, the money, and the plan. Eritrea has something Ethiopia desperately needs: access to the sea. But President Isaias Afwerki would rather let his ports rot than open the gates to prosperity. Why? And what is he really afraid of? Waygud fan, welcome to Semonigna Spotlight, your front row seat to the Horn of Africa's most explosive stories. Today we dive into a geopolitical standoff that could rewrite the fate of an entire region. Ethiopia, Africa's second most populous nation, is landlocked, rising and ready to lead. But it's trapped behind closed gates. Gates controlled by Eritrea's iron-fisted ruler, Isaias Afwerki. Despite 4 powerful offers from Addis Ababa, offers that could transform Massawa and Assab into mega-economic hubs, Eritrea remains silent. Why is one man blocking a future that could benefit tens of millions? Is this stubbornness, strategy, or something more sinister? Let's unpack the high-stakes drama behind one man versus 130 million. The battle over the sea.
የቀይ ባህር አክሰስ ሰላማዊ በሆነ መንገድ ኢትዮጵያ ያስፈልጋል።
A landlocked titans struggle Ethiopia. Africa's second most populous nation is a rising economic powerhouse. Its GDP growth has outpaced many on the continent, and its capital, Addis Ababa, is a diplomatic and aviation hub. Yet its landlocked status remains a crippling Achilles heel. Dependent on foreign ports, primarily Djibouti's, Ethiopia shells out billions annually, an economic hemorrhage that stifles development and burdens its people. The Red Sea, a mere stone's throw away, holds the key to unlocking Ethiopia's full potential. The ports of Massawa and Assab, located in neighboring Eritrea, could be the gateway to prosperity, but they remain shuttered, not by war, but by politics. These ports, once bustling arteries of commerce during Ethiopia's pre-1993 control of Eritrea, are now ghostly relics. Their cranes stand idle, their docks gather dust, and their potential lies squandered. Ethiopia's leadership, under Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, has not sat idly by. Since the historic 2018 peace agreement with Eritrea, which ended decades of conflict, Ethiopia has extended an olive branch in the form of 4 ambitious proposals: joint port modernization, land swaps for mutual access, collaborative logistics hubs leveraging Ethiopian Airlines' global reach, and duty-free trade zones. These are not mere diplomatic overtures. They are blueprints for a regional renaissance. Yet Eritrea's response has been a deafening silence, a refusal that borders on sabotage. Eritrea's iron grip, a nation in chains. At the heart of this standoff is Eritrea's enigmatic and iron-fisted leader, President Isaias Afwerki. For over 3 decades, Afwerki has ruled Eritrea with an unyielding grip, creating a regime often compared to North Korea for its opacity and repression. Indefinite mandatory conscription, suppression of free speech, and a tightly controlled economy have driven countless Eritreans to flee, risking treacherous journeys across deserts and seas. The nation's youth, once its greatest asset, are now its greatest export, with thousands seeking refuge abroad each year. Eritrea's ports, which could be engines of job creation and economic revival, remain heavily militarized, their potential locked away by a government that prioritizes control over progress. Massawa and Assab, strategically positioned along the Red Sea, could be linchpins in a thriving regional economy. Instead, they symbolize Eritrea's self-imposed isolation. No ships dock, no containers move. The ports, once gateways to global trade, are now monuments to missed opportunity. Afwerki's regime has rebuffed Ethiopia's offers, choosing instead to align with nations like Egypt, which share historical tensions with Ethiopia over regional influence, particularly regarding the Nile River. This alignment suggests a motives rooted not in national interest, but in a personal vendetta against Ethiopia's rising star, a vendetta that punishes Eritrea's own people most of all. Ethiopia's Vision, a blueprint for prosperity. Ethiopia's proposals are nothing short of revolutionary. First, it offers joint investments to modernize Massawa and Assab, transforming them into state-of-the-art facilities capable of handling the region's growing trade demands. Second, it proposes land exchanges to create mutual access corridors, ensuring both nations benefit from seamless connectivity. Third, Ethiopia envisions air-sea logistics hubs, leveraging the global success of Ethiopian Airlines, Africa's largest carrier, to integrate air and maritime trade. Finally, duty-free trade zones and integrated customs systems could turn the Red Sea coast into a bustling economic corridor, creating thousands of jobs and billions in revenue. Imagine the scene: trains loaded with goods from Addis Ababa rolling into a revitalized Massawa, their cargo destined for Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. Picture Eritrean and Ethiopian workers side by side, loading containers onto ships bound for global markets. Envision a unified Red Sea economic zone stretching from Port Sudan to Berbera, with Massawa and Assab as its beating heart. This is not a pipe dream, it's a tangible future, one that Ethiopia is ready to build, and one that Somaliland and Djibouti have already shown is possible through their own port successes. Yet Eritrea's refusal to engage threatens to keep this vision locked in the realm of what could have been. The shadow of a Seagate Conspiracy. A chilling narrative has emerged in recent years. A so-called Seagate Countries Alliance, comprising Djibouti, Somalia, Sudan, and Eritrea, allegedly conspiring to block Ethiopia's maritime access. This idea, while seductive in its simplicity, is a dangerous mirage. Ethiopia is not just another player in the Horn, it is the region's anchor. With a population of over 130 million and one of Africa's fastest-growing economies, Ethiopia's stability is critical to the Horn's prosperity. Blocking its access to the sea would not only cripple Ethiopia, but destabilize the entire region, disrupting trade, security, and development. The economic interdependence of the Horn makes cooperation not just desirable, but essential. Eritrea's alignment with Egypt, a nation with its own geopolitical axe to grind, fuels speculation that Afwerki's refusal is less about sovereignty and more about thwarting Ethiopia's ambitions. This obsession with resistance over partnership is a betrayal of Eritrea's own people, who suffer under economic stagnation and political repression. While Ethiopia's offers could bring jobs, infrastructure, and hope, Eritrea's leadership clings to a paranoid vision of self-reliance that leaves its citizens with little choice but to flee. The human cost, Eritrea's lost generation. The tragedy of Eritrea's stance is most acutely felt by its people. The regime's rejection of Ethiopia's proposals is not just a geopolitical snub, it's a death sentence for the dreams of Eritrea's youth. Mandatory conscription, likened to modern slavery, traps young Eritreans in indefinite military service. Economic despair and political repression drive thousands to risk their lives crossing borders or braving the Mediterranean. If Massawa and Assab were open for trade, they could create tens of thousands of jobs, revitalize local communities, and offer a future worth staying for. Instead, Eritrea's ports remain padlocked, and its people remain prisoners of a regime that values control over their well-being. A region on the brink. The Horn of Africa stands at a pivotal moment. Ethiopia's offers represent a chance to rewrite the region's story, transforming it from a hotspot of conflict and poverty into a beacon of prosperity and cooperation. Somaliland has shown the way with its Berbera port, which thrives through partnerships with global investors. Djibouti has turned its ports into economic lifelines, generating billions in revenue. Eritrea could follow suit, turning Massawa and Assab into engines of growth that benefit not just Eritrea and Ethiopia, but the entire Horn. Yet Afwerki's refusal to engage threatens to keep the region chained to a past defined by grudges and division. The world is watching, and the stakes could not be higher. Ethiopia's 130 million people deserve access to the sea, not as a privilege, but as a right to unlock their nation's potential. Eritrea's people deserve a future free from repression and despair. The Horn of Africa deserves to rise as a unified force, not fracture under the weight of one man's intransigence. The silence of Eritrea's ports is not just a loss for Ethiopia, it's a loss for the region, for Africa, and for the global economy. Let the Horn rise. The time for hesitation is over. Eritrea must seize this moment, open its ports, and embrace Ethiopia's vision for shared prosperity. The alternative is a future of continued isolation, economic decay, and lost potential. Let the trains roll from Addis to Massawa. Let the ships sail from Assab to the world. Let the Horn of Africa rise together, not as rivals, but as partners in a bold new era. The world waits, the region yearns, and Ethiopia stands ready. It's time to unlock the gates, unleash the potential, and let the Horn soar. The choice is Eritrea's. Will it choose progress or remain a prisoner of its own making? And that's a wrap, fan. Semonigna Spotlight signing off, but we'll be back with more stories that shake the Horn of Africa to its core. Stay tuned, stay curious, and keep it locked right here.